Hello, sports fan. This is Steven Hill for Sports Choice Plus, and I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering the top 10 teams in the NFL this week of Week 12. Before we get right into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Go ahead and hit it right now so you can get all the updates each and every time we have breakdowns here at Sports Choice Plus, whether it be the top 10 predictions or whether it be through NFL action. Without further ado, let's get right into the action. Coming in at number 10, you're looking at a team that has slowly started to get pieces back to the puzzle and slowly started to play their game every single week, as we've seen the last couple of weeks. While Nick Chubb was gone, Kareem Hunt has helped this team gain several wins, and you're looking at the team is now 7-3. 7-3 with a realistic chance of making the postseason and getting Nick Chubb back, and now he's healthy. Now you saw against Philadelphia what he's able to do with that 1-2 punch tandem, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are not only limiting their mistakes through the air, but they're also putting the onus on the run game, making sure their strength of the team, which is the offensive line, gets to do whatever they want to do each and every week, and they get to run the football. When you get to run the football, offensive linemen get to take their frustration out on the defensive line, and for 4 quarters, you get to grind on that defense. And most of the time, as we've seen this season, when you grind on the defense for 4 quarters, in the 4th quarter, they become a lot less resistant, and they usually give in. The Browns at number 10, it's pretty good that I see them in the top 10. Amazing what they're being able to do. And also limiting Baker Mayfield's mistakes. That's a big thing. Coming in at number 9, even though they lost, it was a very impressive loss. Seeing how that defense kept up with Patrick Mahomes for the most part of the game, seeing how Josh Jacobs and company, seeing how Derek Carr made some big throws. Even though Nelson Aguilar dropped a couple of passes, they had a couple of questionable calls on the penalties against them. I like the Las Vegas Raiders. Seeing how they're at 6-4, but you feel good about this 6-4. You feel good about the 2 games they played against the Chiefs. You feel good about them playing the Saints earlier in the season. You feel good about what you've seen even in losses. Even in their losses, they've been able to show you that they're giving maximum effort. They're putting their best foot forward. And they're losing games only when the teams are just a better team that day. I like what I'm seeing out of Derek Carr. What he's able to put on paper and film is looking like title contender. And you're seeing a lot of these throws he's making. In that game Sunday against the Chiefs, he not only made some big-time throws. Yes, he had an interception, but you got to keep in mind that happens during the NFL season. You're looking at his growth, his development, his building of his relationship with his wide receivers. That's been crucial. And you see that he's the leader of this football team. And they are playing at a phenomenal level. I think for the rest of the season, they could pull off a couple of big wins against playoff teams and sneak into the playoffs. Coming in at number 8, they're at 7-3 as well. You're looking at the last time we saw the Seattle Seahawks, they were beating the Arizona Cardinals. You see how just Rust exploded offensively, and you're seeing how DK Metcalf and company and Lockett, and you're seeing how it's a big part of what they do, putting the ball in Russ's hands and letting him make a lot of the decisions. But they have to shore up that defense some way, somehow, whether it's sign free agents off the street, whether it's, bring up some practice squad guys. They have to do something, because that defense is going to end up causing this team to lose in the playoffs, I believe, in the early rounds, or either get positioned in a bad or playoff position. But Russ is playing phenomenal. This team takes on the Eagles this week. I believe they're going to beat the Eagles with ease. It's just so many things that this team does well on offense. And if they get Carson back, that's going to be a plus. They can run the ball with Carlos Hyde as well. They've been doing extremely well on offense. The last couple of weeks, they've had it string together 3 straight losses, 2 or 3 straight losses, I believe. But Russ is in the driver's seat right now and has his team playing at an all-time high level right now. And I think they're going to continue that all-time high level this week. Coming in at number 7, you're looking at the Tennessee Titans. With a win over the Ravens, that puts them at 7-3. You look at just where they are. Derrick Henry was bottled up for most of the day. In the 4th quarter, he came alive. You're seeing just how that offense runs. And when you're seeing the wide receiver position show that they can step up at times as well, when Derrick Henry can step up at times as well, that makes Ryan Tannehill's job that much more easier. That defense has to improve as well for Tennessee, but they have a lot of traction when they get the ball and they can run the ball for 4 quarters. Doesn't matter if you're successful the first 3 quarters, but in that fourth quarter, usually you come downhill when you continuously run that football. I like what I see from the offensive side of the ball. The defense, as I said, needs a little bit more work, but I think Derrick Henry on the second half of this season, you're going to see a lot more of him. He's going to go to that power back offense, and they're going to really dominate a lot of teams at the line of scrimmage. Let's just face it. They have one of the best offensive lines as far as run blocking in the NFL, and they create holes for Derrick Henry, who can literally run through a lot of those holes with ease. That's why I have them there at number 7. Coming in at number 6, the Indianapolis Colts at 7-3. You saw what they did last week against the Packers. They fought gritty, hard-nosed. They were down, I believe, 14, 16 points at halftime. They slowly mounted a comeback in the second half. They dictated what they were going to do against the Packers, and they slowly put them away. When I'm looking at everything that this team has, the defense leads this team. You look at Phillip Rivers, if he gets a little bit more healthier, it could be good for this team. But you're looking at where they are right now. Can they challenge everybody in the AFC South for the title? The answer is yes. And when you're seeing their game plan every single week, it's consistent. They're starting to run the ball even more. I like the offensive lineman, Quentin, I believe Nelson. Very nasty road raider, very in your face, very physical, very fast. And you saw him get a couple of penalties on Sunday for some of the hits he was giving out. So I think these guys are ready to play football. I think that win against the Packers was huge for them. And then I think that can help propel their season to a whole nother level. When you beat a team like the Packers, that's a title contender, it doesn't go unnoticed, but you got to keep in mind that they're on a collision course with Tennessee. So the winner of that game, that could very well be your winner of the AFC South, but I like what they did by winning that game against the Packers. Coming in at number 5, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have an opportunity not only to do some good things, but also make noise. If they can beat the Patriots again, if they can beat the Jets, you're looking at Miami, they can set themselves up for a pretty good closing of the season. You look and see, you want to make sure you have a playoff home game. You want to make sure you're doing everything you need to do from that side of the football to from defense to offense to special teams. Sean McDermott doesn't get a lot of credit. You can even say he's been disrespected sometimes because of his work and how he handles stuff. But I think that this Bills team is up and coming. I like what I see from Josh Allen. The running back position needs a little bit more production from them, but the wide receivers, when I look at Beasley, when I look at what's his name, John Brown, I believe, when I look at Stephon Diggs, these guys are playing at a high level. The tight end position could use a little bit more production, but I like what I see. Each and every week that defense gives you a chance. They hold on to a lot of things sometimes. And what I mean by holding on to a lot, they basically are the backbreaker sometimes for some of these games. I want to see them produce a little bit more for the Bills because I feel like they can definitely do a little bit more in these games to help Josh Allen out, but he has to also help himself out by not throwing interceptions, by not fumbling the ball. But overall, I would give Josh Allen a B+. He can still make an A for the whole year, but right now I have him as a B+ for where he has the Buffalo Bills right now. And I think he's trending upwards at this point. And I think they're going to have a pretty good end of the year as well. Coming in at number 4, coming in at 7-3, the job they did on Tampa last night, and just seeing how they traveled to Tampa, they beat Tampa in Tampa, and they dominated Tom Brady a lot of times. They got to the quarterback, they hit him often, they hit him early. Jason Pierre-Paul and company on the defensive side of the ball for Tampa had a couple of plays against the Rams. It was impressive what Tampa was doing at certain points, but the Rams bounced back. They took every single thing that Tampa's defense gave them. They took every single thing that Tampa's offense gave them in special teams, and they still were able to pull out the victory. When you saw, okay, the momentum starting to build for Tampa, the Rams slowly took it right back. Sean McVay is calling some good offensive plays, and he's been able to not only help this team become where they are right now. You think about this, just a couple of years ago, Todd Gurley was the MVP of this team. Now they're running the ball by committee. They're passing the ball to Cooper Kupp. They're passing the ball to different receivers. They're getting every single person involved, and you're seeing just a masterpiece. When you look at Cooper Kupp, he's underrated. Even though he had a couple of mistakes last night, he's leading the Rams in catches, leading the Rams in yards. You know, Robert Woods is out there doing his thing as well. They have a lot of guys on offense that are underrated, that are really getting the job done for Jared Goff, and it's impressive. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, when you look at Aaron Donald, you look at Jalen Ramsey and how he was moving all across the field last night, covering basically whoever needed to be covered. They were jamming guys at the line of scrimmage. They were daring Mike Evans or Antonio Brown to beat them. And they just basically took away the run game for Tampa. And they really made a statement on Monday Night Football in front of the whole world, beating Tampa in that fashion. So I like the Rams, and I think they're going to be serious contenders at the end of the year as well. Coming in number 3, it wasn't a surprise, but the Saints beat the Falcons. And what the biggest surprise in that game was Taysom Hill and how he was able to not only play well, he threw the ball pretty good, he ran the ball extremely well, and he held together a game plan that was tailor-made for him to have success and beat the Falcons. This week's going to be a little bit more tougher for them when they face the Broncos, but you got to keep in mind, he did exactly what he was asked to do. He got the ball to Michael Thomas when he needed to, gave the ball to Alvin Kamara when he needed to, and he got out of trouble with his legs. So that's going to be big. You want to make sure this team is holding it together at 8-2. You want to make sure they're holding it together until Drew Brees gets back, and I think they're going to have a pretty good chance to do that with the next stretch of games that you have coming up. So that's my team at number 3. Coming in at number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. When you're looking at 9-1, you're looking at just how well they played against the Raiders. They made a couple of mistakes. The referees did indeed bail them out on a couple of plays. It was controversial, so I will say that. But you got to think, the Chiefs were bailed out by a couple of calls, a couple of no calls, and a couple of actual calls. It was very different for this. And I'm just looking at the rest of their schedule. You could have potential problems or landmines laying on the rest of the schedule. Is Patrick Mahomes going to be able to get away with a lot of the things that he's doing that he's not supposed to do as a quarterback? He's still throwing across the body, which, I mean, he has a strong arm. He can do. But he's going to get himself in trouble. He has to make sure he's literally doing everything he can to make sure he's not turning the ball over, fumbling it, doing any of that. Tyreek Hill is a monster. When you see Tyreek Hill all over the place catching the balls, when you see Travis Kelce all over the place catching the ball, my challenge to the Kansas City Chiefs is, can you run the football for 4 straight quarters? Can you play better on that side of the ball as far as running the football goes? Because, yeah, you can pass the ball all day long. In the playoffs, you're going to have some type of run game so you can definitely produce. Even though you're a wizard on offense as far as quarterbacks, you got to have that. But I like Kansas City at number 2. I think they slide back a little bit because the number 1 team really did dominate this weekend. The number 1 team came out and showed you why they're a juggernaut on offense. They showed you why they're able to pass the ball and have possibly the best wide receiving core in the NFL right now. The number 1 team in the NFL is undefeated. And you're looking at 10-0, the Pittsburgh Steelers, with a game this week against the Baltimore Ravens. I expect them to win that game and go to 11-0. Pittsburgh literally came out and put their foot on Jacksonville's necks. They did what they wanted to. The defense did what they wanted to. The defense brought extreme pressure, and oftentimes that extreme pressure came with rushing 4. They came with rushing 3. They came with stunts, with blitzes, with all things all over the place, and they never let the Jacksonville Jaguars get comfortable on offense or defense. It did not matter which one they were doing. The defense attacked downhill all weekend. They took advantage of several mistakes for Jacksonville. They took advantage of the field position as well. And their offensive wide receivers literally did their job. When you saw blocking, when you saw catching, when you saw good hands, when you saw good route running, it was all on display against Jacksonville. And that was probably the best complete game that I've seen them play all year. With Baltimore on the schedule next, you never know what could happen because Baltimore is a contender, but you got to keep in mind, the Pittsburgh Steelers are ready. They look ready. They look like they just finished practicing and they came out and played the game. So that's my top 10 list. Tell me what you think about my top 10 list. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave all those comments in the comment section below. Definitely check us out. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel. Make sure you click the link in the bio so you can get the updates, and you can also join the Facebook channel where you can like the pages. You can like the post, you can share the post. It makes it one-stop shop for you. So thank y'all so very much. Happy holidays and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. Until the next time, good people, y'all stay safe.